everyone. Welcome back to YFNA. I hope you're all excited for an emotional show tonight. My guest is Cindy Plaza. So, Cindy, I'd like to welcome you. Cindy, how are you tonight?
Hi, I'm doing great tonight.
Good, good.
Yeah, I had a pretty good day.
That makes me happy to hear. You're in Belgium, so what time is it by you?
It's 2 a.m. right now.
Oh my God. Are you going to be able to handle a show?
Yeah, I'm old, but I still can handle a show late at night. It's
Okay,
fine.
good. So, before we get started, I'd like to give a small introduction of Cindy, and Cindy, feel free to expand on it. Actually, yesterday, 5 years ago from yesterday, I called in to talk heathen for the first time. And I remember Eric Murphy answering my call, and the first word out of my mouth was, dude. And I got so excited. And he literally, like, takes a step back from the microphone and is like, oh my God, this guy's excited. And I was so happy. And the reason I called in was because I had a friend who was trans and was trying to get through to their parents. So I was asking for advice. Cindy, there were other people that at that time like started hearing of me, but Cindy was the first person to reach out to me and talk to me about it. So, Cindy, what was your first impression of our initial conversation?
Um, I remember that you were very considerate and very concerned about what your friend was going through, which was quite horrific, to be honest.
Thank you.
Um, and yeah, and I see you haven't changed regarding this because
That's a good
you
thing, right?
yes, you're still the same lovely person who
Thank you.
keeps asking about other people how they're going, and that's just yeah, well, it's in the title, right? Friendly neighborhood
You're a
atheist.
friendly neighborhood atheist. You're right. It's in the
Yes,
title.
yeah. Mm.
So, for those who don't know, Cindy spent several hours, over a month, with me, talking to me on the phone, educating me on trans issues, trans rights, and the best way to tackle a conversation like this. So, even though the conversation didn't go well, it was not because Cindy didn't prepare me properly, but because these people were hard headed and honestly, like, I am a white cis dude, so I can only understand so much. And I remember talking to this trans woman's dad and being like, I was trying everything I could, and he wouldn't listen to me at all. He just wasn't having it. He was convinced that his daughter was possessed and there were some issues there. So I didn't know where to go with it. But as a result, Cindy and I became friends. And she was one of the, not the first, but one of the first people on my channel. So with that, Cindy has since been on nonprofits. Was it Skeptic Haven? Is that the other show you've been on? Skeptic
Yep.
Haven. She's definitely come around in the community. So, Cindy, before we go into the topic of euthanasia, would you mind giving us a little bit of background on yourself?
um so yeah, uh, apart from being trans myself and talking about this sometimes, um, I'm a huge student of critical thinking, and I've been invited more often than not to talk about this specific topic, which uh, I'm trying to write something about, but right now in my situation, it's a little bit hard to focus and put down the words, even though everything is in my head. But um, Yeah, my main uh, knowledge, I would say, regarding the atheist community is um, critical thinking, and also a little bit of sometimes a little bit of sarcasm from European to an American. That's always funny. So yeah, that's me.
Okay. So, I'd like to ask you to define what euthanasia is, because right now, you and Dave Warnock have signed up to be euthanized. What exactly does that mean?
So euthanasia is a procedure in which a doctor ends someone's life at their request. It's pretty much what you see vets doing quite often with pets that are at the end of their life, or they're having a, a bad disease that they cannot um, get cured from. And it's what's puzzling me the most regarding this is that in every single media, putting an end to an animal that's suffering is seen as a good thing. It's seen as
Right.
compassion. It's seen as something you should do. But when it comes to humans, we don't want to do that. Belgium is one of the very, very few countries that has a procedure put in place for this, and I think it should be a basic human right, like bodily autonomy, or freedom of speech, and like everything like this. And so, um, yeah, that's why I'm talking about this here. It's because I'm very passionate about this. I really think it should be a basic human right.
Do you think the reason that this isn't allowed globally is because of religious aspect or other reasons?
I think religion is one of them. I think the the Western culture mostly is uh, has a lot of trouble talking about death in general, and I think that has to do with it too. Um, I don't want to say it's only religion, because I don't think it is, but I think it's definitely uh, a part, because it's like it's in many people's thought, euthanasia and suicide are almost the same thing, and
Right.
suicide is forbidden in Christianity, and so by extension, I would say maybe euthanasia is as well, and also because um, nobody talks about it. Nobody says, "Okay, we can do it this way." Like every time you talk about it, people are going to say, "Hey, but if you allow this, then this or this or this will happen." Except every country that allows it has very strict procedures in place for that, and so every single uh, argument against it is already covered by those procedures. So there is, once the discussion ends, there is actually no reason why you shouldn't have it, shouldn't be able to choose that for yourself.
Right. So I have two questions. One is kind of like an intro into the topic we're going into, and one is going to backtrack a little bit. So my first initial question is, you've already started the process of getting euthanized out of depression. Is that correct?
It's almost correct. It's not depression technically, but it's mental health issues. Yes.
Okay.
So the procedure started in July last year. I know that in general it takes about a year, or up to a year and a half. So yes, I did start this procedure.
Okay. So before we go more in depth in that, I want to ask you about your childhood because it sounds like you've been suffering a long time. At first, what age did you realize you were transgender?
I think I was 4 or 5.
That young?
Yeah, yeah. My
Oh,
my
wow.
my earliest memory is about this, and it's about my parents not accepting it. So I started hiding it at this age. Um, but it has nothing to do with the euthanasia procedure. Being
That
trans
was
has
one of the
nothing to do with
questions I
this.
was
Yeah,
going to ask
yeah,
you.
yeah. No, no, it's completely related to what my parents put me through when I was a kid. Um, they were very, very violent.
Oh my God.
Uh, I was terrified at home all the time, and I put in place some mechanisms to protect myself, like every person in this situation will do. And about 9 years ago, those mechanisms, they triggered other problems because of other events that happened at that time. And so now I'm suffering from these uh, issues that were triggered at the time. So I cannot say that my parents are directly responsible for what I'm going through now, but kind of, because if I had had a normal childhood, I wouldn't have implemented those defense mechanism, and I wouldn't be in that situation right now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you don't really have support from your family, right? Because I remember, I'm assuming you remember this, your brother reached out to me at some point,
Yeah, I
and it
remember.
really, really frustrated me to see how they didn't accept your proper pronouns. And I remember coming to you, and I didn't know how to deal with it or write back to that person. But I just remember being very frustrated. Like, no, this is Cindy. This is how she identifies. It's as simple as that. And they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah, and they still don't. So I haven't had any contact with this brother or uh, two others in years. Haven't had any contact with my parents in 7 years. Uh,
7 years?
yeah,
Wow.
I'm only in touch with one of my younger brothers. We talked today, and yeah, and that's all.
You're a soccer player, right? Was your whole family soccer players?
Nope, nope.
No, just
I'm the
you?
only one. Yeah, just me.
Well, maybe sometime if we ever get to see each other, we'll play soccer together because I was a pretty good soccer player. Um, I unfortunately I quit at a young age.
Mm.
I started high school, and one thing my coach prior to high school always taught me is that sports should be fun. And this high school coach just ripped us apart, constantly attacked us, gave us drills nonstop, and it was just endless. And it sucks because I loved soccer. So yeah, it would be nice to play a soccer game with you.
Yeah.
Um,
What what position were you playing?
so up until high school, I was a front center. Once high school started, they put me in defense. And then I remember we were winning this game by like 9-0, 9-1, something like that. And I remember looking at my coach. I said, please, please put me on forward. We're winning by enough. Give me a chance. And so she said, fine, I'll give you a chance. And I remember she pulled out the center field offense and she gave it to me. And I came out on the field and I scored a goal within seconds. And it was like the happiest moment of my life. And she was like, oh, that was great. I didn't know you had moves like that. And I said,
Mhm.
give me more chances and I will prove to you what I can do. But she never gave me any more chances. So eventually I don't want to say I took the coward's way out, but I'm not proud of myself for the fact that I gave up, because I'm someone who doesn't give up on anything, and I gave up.
Yeah, I think just saying you gave up is maybe a reduction of what happened at the time, because you probably had other things that made you take this decision. Maybe you didn't have the opportunity to go play somewhere else or something like that. But yeah, I play midfield, like center midfield,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, I was in that position 2 years ago. My coach just kept me playing in defense, and I hate that. And at the end of the season, I had been playing for 3 years in this club, and I didn't want to leave. But I told him, "You either allow me to play in my place, or I just go away." And
Good for you.
I just went away because I had the opportunity. Yeah.
Right. Okay, we're
So
getting off topic, and I apologize. I ADHD, it brings me everywhere else on the planet. So, with that being said, can you explain to me what brought you to the point that you wanted to submit the paperwork to be euthanized?
Um, so 9 years ago, something happened in my family. So, like 3, 4 years earlier, I discovered that I had a sister, uh, and
Can you expand on that before we go?
yeah. So my mother, she got me with a guy, and she had to go away because he was beating her. And so
Oh,
when they when she left, I was only a few months old, and so she remarried, and that man is to me my father. The first one, I never met him and never wanted to meet him. But then he remarried and got a daughter, which I never knew because I never cared. But she did. She discovered that she had a brother, and everyone in the family knew, but she didn't. And so she tried to look for me, and in the end, through sheer luck, she discovered that I existed, and then she managed to contact me. And at first, it was great, but then I told her that I was going to go through the transition, and then at first it was okay, but one day she just stopped communicating without any
oh,
explanation or anything, and that triggered some things, and um, so for 9 years I've been suffering from this PTSD and other things, and I've been trying to uh, I've been seeing several psychologists, several psychiatrists. We tried several medications, several mixes of medication. We tried every kind of therapies, and nothing worked because the issues are too deep. And so about a year, like 14 months ago, in November, December 2023, I was really, really tired of fighting, and I tired of fighting and feeling miserable all the time, and the constant pain and not seeing any potential progress. I just decided that I didn't want to suffer anymore. And so um, I tried to go to a hospital that treats people with depression and things like this.
Like an
And
inpatient, is that what you're referring to?
in what?
Inpatient. So in America, like if you go to inpatient, you stay in a medical facility for an extended period of time. Is that what you're
Yep,
referring to? Okay.
yep, yeah. And even there, I tried a couple of different therapies, and none of them worked. So after that, I decided that I had tried everything, and so um, I started the procedure.
And how long ago was this procedure started? Did you say? Did you say it was about a year?
July last year. Yeah.
July last year. Okay. So do you think there's any, well, actually, let me ask this audience question first. From Ways to Human, can you ask Cindy if ketamine is available there? And if so, has she tried it? And I think I don't want to speak for Ways to Human, but a reason why, at least in America, I would personally ask this question is because ketamine has shown to be phenomenal. Ketamine treatments for people with anxiety, depression, and PTSD.
There was a time where my psychiatrist wanted to try it, and so I uh, before we try it, we had to um, try. Hold on just a second.
Sure, no problem. Cindy and I both have. Oh, there we go. There's the baby. What's her name?
Simba.
Simba. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
He or her. He or her.
he.
He. Hi, Simba. Oh, such a cute little baby.
Yeah, he's lovely. Um, and so they decided that it wouldn't help me because ketamine is from a certain family of drugs, and I already had tried everything in that family. But also, um, I don't suffer from depression per se. The depression state is a consequence of the PTSD of the and other things, but it's not a depression in itself. So every treatment against depression doesn't work. Um,
Can you expand on that? Because clearly I misunderstood you based on our conversation off the air. I thought it was severe depression, so I kind of assumed something like ketamine would help. What is the difference between what you're suffering from and what depression is?
so I remember a study from I think it was 4 years ago, where they tried to understand why some medication worked on some depression and others not, and they realized that people whose depression or depression state is a consequence from child abuse, they didn't respond to depression treatments because it's not in itself a depression. Depression is linked to a certain imbalance in some hormones in the brain, and that's
Right.
not what causes the depression state in cases like mine. It's like you said, PTSD. It's other mental states and defense mechanisms that you put in place, but they are not influenced by medication, and so only therapy works in those situations
So for
when it
me,
does.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, when it does, when therapy does work, it works in these situations.
Okay, so I want to be clear here, and I don't want anyone to misinterpret me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not making recommendations at all. So please don't quote me verbatim on what works and what doesn't work for depression. I suffer from depression. I see a psychiatrist and I see a therapist. And I've seen multiple therapists and multiple counselors over the past several years. And unfortunately, nothing has worked. Now, Cindy, I'm not to where you're at, where I'm ready to be euthanized. But uh, it's every day. Would you agree that every day is a constant struggle?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Are you right now, if right now tomorrow they approved you for euthanasia, would you accept it? Would you wait? Do you have things on your bucket list that you want to do first? Where are you at?
So I I want to finish my soccer season because I helped create a new team last year, and I want to at least end the season, so it won't happen before this summer. That's how I planned it. The advantage of this procedure is that you can back off at any time, even at the very last second,
Right,
um, which is a good thing.
of
You, you
course.
you shouldn't be forced, even if it's your decision in the first place. But um, yeah, right now, that's where I stand. I I had a couple things I wanted to do, but the problem is I feel um, so tired all the time, and lack of energy and will to do anything, because when you don't get pleasure out of anything, then it's almost impossible to find motivation to do anything. uh, so even like going to Spain to see my brother, uh, the idea of going to take a plane, it's just unbearable to me. Uh, so yeah, even though there's one or two things I would like to do, I just don't have the strength.
So, do you get joy out of anything? Like, and what I mean by that is like, do you get excited when you're going to be on the non-for-profits, or do you get excited doing the stream with me? Like, is there any pleasure for you, or are you numb to it all? And I'm just grabbing a drink of water, but please feel free to continue talking. I'm listening.
Um, no, I'm mostly numb on everything. Like um, even meeting the people I love is it's hard. It's hard because even though, and it's hard to explain too, because I'm glad to see the person because I like them, but on the other hand, the time I spend with them is it's not, it's I'm not feeling almost anything.
Really?
Um, yeah,
So you don't get any excitement or any joy.
no,
That
and that's
makes me
been
sad.
going on for 9 years, and that's the main reason behind the decision.
So, what motivates you to do a podcast like this?
I want everyone to have the same rights as I do. I know in several parts of the world, a lot of people are working to remove rights from everyone, and I just can't condone that kind of behavior. If I have a right, I think everyone should have it too.
Right.
especially this one, because it's so important. The way you die is, it has so much impact on people around you, that I don't understand why you wouldn't allow people to be able to prepare for it, and uh, to help ease the pain of people around them. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I used to be uh my opinion has changed. This was about a year ago. When someone made a post on Facebook saying like they wanted to euthanasia because they couldn't deal with the depression anymore. And I was vehemently against it. I was okay with people who had severe illnesses, but I was not okay with depression. I was very against it. So I asked this woman to talk to me privately, and she was very direct and called me on it very bluntly and says, "Who are you to make me suffer and to tell me I don't have the right to end my own life?" And that jarred me. That instantly kind of kicked me in the ass and made me think about the the way I was thinking about it. And now I have a very different perspective. I am okay with euthanasia when it comes to depression. I do think there should be some limitations. I shouldn't say limitations is a bad word. I'm trying to think of the best word to say.
Safeguards,
Safeguards.
safeguards.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, safeguards is a much better word.
Mm.
Because I think we need to exhaust every other option. Like, I don't think someone should be, and I don't know. This is where I get torn. I want to say I don't think someone should be able to say, "I'm depressed, I want to end my life," and then their life gets ended. But at the same time, who am I to tell them they can't end their own life? It's torn. I agree that there should be safeguards in place because we just don't know. Like, I was watching a TikTok story of a girl. I don't remember what country she's from, but she was about 22, 23 years of age. And she said she's dealt with depression her entire life. She's exhausted every option. And now she was confident and happy to go through with euthanasia. And compared to her previous videos, she was very bubbly, very happy, very excited. So, my question to you is uh, I don't know how to ask this, but do you look forward to it? Are you excited about it? Like, what are your thoughts on the direction you're going?
So before I answer your question, I'd like to address something that I think needs to be addressed. It's um, this idea that somehow um, physical illness deserve to be ended with euthanasia, but mental illness don't. And that's and you had a show about mental health for a while,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So you know that most people on this planet still think that mental health is just in your head. You know, this
They
expression
do.
that
Yep.
people have, and that y- yeah, if you're depressed, then you should be more cheerful, or you should look things more positively, or this kind of nonsense. Um, and it's because of this idea that mental health is somehow less valid, and not related to our actual biology, like
Right.
physical diseases. And because of that, people want to treat euthanasia for mental health differently. And that's an idea that we need to fight, because mental health is physical health, right? even
It is.
even if it even if it's not uh, like I don't know, any degenerative disease or anything like this, it's still linked to your biology, because when you go through a childhood like mine, your brain is wired differently. Some areas will be bigger, like probably my amygdala will be bigger than other people, because I was in fear, constant fear, my entire childhood. So
Really?
probably, yeah, most
Okay.
likely. I
Interesting.
I,
I didn't know that.
I have no evidence to say that, but it would make sense that a region of the brain that's constantly under pressure, I would say, or constantly used, constantly called on, it would make bigger connectivity at this place because you need it, right? But yeah, I think we need to get rid of this idea that mental health is somehow different, and we we need to treat it as it is, but it doesn't mean that it's less valid than physical health. Regarding your question, um, I don't think I'm ready yet. That's why I put this later date to do it. To me, it's more like an escape pod in a in a spaceship. You know, it's just uh, I want to have the ability when I just can't do this anymore. Like next week, I'm trying a new therapy.
Okay.
The
What
the
is that?
day I it's EMDR. Um,
Do you say EMDR?
yeah.
Okay. Can you would you mind expanding on that? Or sorry, finish your sentence and then if you could
So
expand on
yeah,
that after.
and but if I didn't have the strength to try a new therapy, to try to make the efforts I'm doing right now to fight all this, then I would have this opportunity to end my life in the way I want to. So it's not an objective. Um, how can I say that? It's just a door that I want to have in case I need it.
Okay. And I give you credit because like to I'm not saying I'm in any way suffering in the way you are by any means, but there are many times I struggle with not wanting to be alive. Between my depression, between my anxiety, I've also been diagnosed with bipolar 2 and borderline personality disorder. So I struggle. Um, but I would be absolutely terrified of euthanasia. So on one end, as a friend, I don't want you to go through with this. Like I remember the first time you told me, I was crying, to be blunt. It broke my heart, but the thing is it's not about me, it's about you. And I think on it can take tremendous courage to do what you're doing. Um, and I know you and I have a mutual friend in Dave Warnock. He's going through the same thing. He's set up euthanasia because he's suffering from ALS, and it's heartbreaking. I wish I had an answer for you or a medication for you. It hurts me, and I only hope that, and this may be wishful thinking, but I only hope that before sorry,
It's okay.
before you go through with this, we get to meet each other because Cindy, you are a great friend and you are a great person. And thinking about you not being around anymore breaks my heart. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not trying
Don't
to make this about me. It's about you. But I
don't
just, Cindy, I
please
love
please
you to death. And I remember our first conversation, and I just, if you do go through with this, I want to be there to hold your hand and make sure you have someone there to support you.
yeah, please never apologize for feeling what you feel. It's I'm deeply honored that some people feel like you, and that has been the hardest part for me since I made that decision. It's not the perspective of what's going to happen. It's not uh, the procedure. It's how it hurts everyone around me. Uh, and the you know when I decided to go through the transition like 12 years ago, the first thing I thought was, how am I going to tell everyone? How am I going to make sure I hurt people the least possible? And when I started talking about it at work, it was the same. How am I going to make sure that it impacts my job the least possible? And despite all my efforts, it still had impact on other people, and it's the same thing here. Uh, just
Leave it to a kitty to break up the emotional moments. That Simba is
yeah.
so cute.
Um, so yeah, I'm deeply sorry about triggering those feelings.
Don't apologize.
Uh,
This is about you. This is not about me or anyone else. Please don't apologize. I want what's best for you and what's going to make you the most happy. And I really want to hug your kitty right now.
yeah, yeah. You have to. So I need to see those pictures. But yeah. So let's talk about the procedure itself, if you don't mind, because
Yeah,
I
please.
think
Anything you
I,
want to talk about,
yeah, I
you have
think
the stage.
yeah, I think it's important for people to know how it's done and what's possible and what is not. So first of all, as you hinted to it earlier, um, euthanasia is never a response to suicidal ideations. Never. That's never the case.
Okay.
Uh, when people suffer from dark thoughts and all that, you normally it passes with good therapy
Right.
and medication, but usually it's both together. But it's people who go through euthanasia, they usually they don't want to kill themselves. They wouldn't commit suicide. I never wanted to, and I don't want to right now.
Makes me happy to hear.
And that's something people need to clearly understand, because uh, even people close to me, you talked about courage earlier, but for some people, euthanasia is cowardice. It's just
Yes.
you refuse to fight, and so you take the easy way out. And
I
so
don't agree
that's
with that, and I've heard
yeah
that, and I used to believe that. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, I think that has something to do with conservative Republican values. They link it to Christianity and believe it's God's decision, and they don't agree with it. They think it should be up to God.
But
And
even non-religious people will think this way, because they will think that you want to commit suicide and you can do it yourself, so you're going to see a doctor to do it. That's how they see it. But it's not about suicide. It's never about suicide. It's just ending pain when you can't handle it anymore. So basically, in Belgium, uh, if you want to start a procedure, you have to have three doctors' opinions. So one is usually your family doctor, and the other two are specialized in the area of your uh, problem. If it's cancer, then you have to have two oncologists. If it's depression, then it's two psychiatrists, and etc. etc. Um, and so each of these doctors need to give their decision, and it has to be positive, of course. And they will only do that uh, if they know you, or if they had enough time to view your position and try different medications. You will never find a doctor who says, I mean, you go to see a random doctor in a city and tell them, hey, I want to start euthanasia, and they will just sign like this. That doesn't happen. No doctor would ever sign this. And
so it's a
the
process, is what you're saying.
yes, it's a process. Then once you have your three opinions from your doctors, they are submitted to a commission that will evaluate it, and they will give your an answer. They will say yes if they think it's warranted, and if they don't, then the doctors don't have the permission to do it. Um, so there are some safeguards, like you can only start a procedure for yourself, obviously.
I'm sorry, can you
Um,
repeat that?
you can only start a procedure for yourself,
Oh, okay.
not for someone else. You can start one before you are incapacitated, just in case it happens. Um, what else? So there's the three doctors. And so it's not a response to suicidal ideations, and I'm forgetting something else.
That's okay.
but but this commission I talked about, it produces a report every year or every 2 years, and they give numbers about the procedures they evaluate. And so what I know is that in 2022, 0.9% of the procedures were about mental health issues.
Okay.
So it's very limited. It's less than 1%. It was 37 cases in all 2022. 60% is about cancer, and then the rest is divided in other illnesses like ALS and degenerative diseases and that kind of stuff.
So, where do you stand? And I'm going to give, well, actually, let me ask this audience question first. Ways to Human says, I have heard that also you are the only person that can take the medication. The doctor cannot, for example, place it in your mouth. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. this is it has a different name. It's not euthanasia, and that's the case in some states in the U.S., like Washington D.C. You can help someone die if they want, but you can give them the medication, but they have to take it themselves. No, euthanasia is the doctor does the procedure. They inject you with some products, and they do the procedure. So they make sure it's well done, and you're surrounded until the very end. They ask you, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" Until the very end. And so I saw a video of one of the doctors that do that in Belgium, and it turns out that maybe he's going. If I go through with it, he might be the one that does it for me too. He was interviewed on French TV, and he explained that when he had to do it, he used to take he does take the afternoon for himself afterwards, because he says he needs to not do anything else because it's so hard for him. And so the procedure, it also protects doctors. You can never sue a doctor who doesn't want to do it, and I think that's a very good thing.
Agreed.
And the only thing that's missing in Belgium, in my opinion, is a national database. Because, like, right now, if I want to find a psychiatrist who already performed this kind of review, I can't find one. And even my psychiatrist, she cannot find one. And that's one of the main reasons why the procedure takes so long.
Okay.
So I think the information should be available for doctors, not for patients, but for doctors. That would probably make it much better for everyone. And I'd like to say hi to everyone in the chat as well. Big Zebra, best name, way too human. So yeah, that's the procedure. If I forgot something, I will come back to it later. But
That's fine.
what I wanted to talk about also is when someone is in a situation of suffering like this. Like if I were in the US, can you show exceptional rage comment,
Sure.
please? So yeah, this is not euthanasia, it's assisted suicide. That's the legal term.
Oh, is there a difference?
Yes, assisted suicide is I help you and you take the medication yourself, and euthanasia is the doctor does it themselves.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay. So then let me ask you this. What's your opinion on, like, let me give you my diagnoses. I've already told you my mental health conditions. Excuse me. My nose is stuffy from bawling my eyes out. So I'm sorry I keep sniffing on camera. So about 4 years ago, I had I guess the best term for it would be a psychiatric breakdown. One day, I just started shaking and crying my eyes out. I called my doctor. They prescribed me a certain medication. It only made me worse. So the second day, I called my mom and I told her the condition I was in, and she came over and she was just heartbroken to see me shaking and crying. So The biggest mistake I made was I had her take me to the hospital when I should have had her take me to a mental health facility, but I didn't know any better. And ironically, best name ever was one of the people who, like, she reached out to my family, she reached out to my friends because she noticed I was gone, because I never ever shut the fuck on Facebook, shut the fuck up on Facebook. I'm constantly like, "Duh, duh, 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 duh." So she figured out something was wrong. So my question to you is, I did have suicidal ideation. At what point do you think it would be okay for someone like me to go through with assisted suicide?
There is no way I can answer that for you. The only reason euthanasia exists is to uh, put an end to pain. That's the only reason. So when you feel that pain is unbearable, that's when you make the decision to go through this procedure. And only you can can decide that you've had enough. Like it's like, pain is a very different from one person to another, and that's true for pain, it's true for joy, it's true for everything, including the ability to suffer. Some people will be able to suffer from certain time, and other less or more. Only you can decide this. Hi, Puck. Hi, Theo.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for everyone jumping in on the chat, asking questions. If you do have any questions you'd like to ask Cindy or myself, please do so. I am going to answer one question off topic just because it was asked from Exceptionally Average. How long would you have had to play before that coach gave you another chance? This was regarding the soccer question. And to answer that, I have absolutely no idea. I thought I'd get another chance after continuing to play for the rest, like furthermore in the season, but I did not get another chance. So I don't know. Anyways, but oh crap, I just messed up. Oh, here we go. Okay, question from Puck. Does one need to be in pain to want to just be done? Can one dread the potential of pain or the potential of hardship?
Well, you would need to argue that the prospect of pain is in itself causing you tremendous fear or pain, and I don't see how you could argue that, honestly. But if you could, I don't see, at least in Belgium, I don't see any doctor that would agree with this, because fear and stress and this can be mitigated through medication and therapy. So in in this case, you would have to because let's say you're going to, you're going to be in pain in 10 years. uh, you would have to justify that you're going to be fearing this pain for the next 10 years, and that's I'm sorry, Puck, I don't see how that could be possible in that scenario.
Okay. So Puck, yeah, if you can expand on that in any way, a better way where possibly we can get a better answer to your question. We do have another question from some I don't want to say this name out loud because I'm going to laugh, but some kind of Dickie. Question for Cindy. You have many friends that care about you. How can we best support you in your decision?
So let me address the first sentence first. Uh, so one of the results of the childhood I I got is that my view of myself is and my self-worth is very, very, very low. And announcing that procedure in it had the effect of realizing how low this was and how wrong I was. How many people actually cared about me. But because of what I talked about earlier, this emotional lock that I would call it is, even if someone I deeply love shows me appreciation or love, it doesn't nourish me. So it's not helping at the moment. And it's my one of my biggest issues psychologically is to realize that I have all those people around me that care about me and don't know how to express it very often, and I care about them, but the fact that they care about me is does nothing to help me. You know, when someone tells you I love you or I really appreciate you or something like that, when someone give you a testimony of appreciation or love, normally you feel something physically. Your heartbeat raises, you have warmth in your chest, you have all those physiologic changes and psychological changes also. But in my case, those don't happen because of those issues I'm facing. So it's I think it's so sad to realize so late how much I'm appreciated, liked, whatever the term you can use, and that I realize that at a moment where it can't help me. That's one of the saddest things, honestly, I've ever faced. Um,
So
so,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
but yeah, but to answer the second question, how you can help me. Um, just the ability to be able to talk about it without fear, without shame, without anything like this. That helps a lot. You can possibly imagine how much it helps to just this discussion we're having. It's amazing to me, and the person who asked this question, who is fantastic um, person and also a fantastic and exceptional game master at Dungeons and Dragon. Uh,
Wait, you play Dungeons and Dragons?
yeah,
Okay.
we have an ACA campaign that we started like a year
What?
ago.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't play Dungeons and Dragons, but I have a buddy who has started a YouTube channel on Dungeons and Dragons, and he's always looking for people to play. Should I hook you two up?
Um, yeah, why not? Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. So before I get to Puck's question, I got kind of a mixed message from what you were saying, and I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding you.
Yeah.
On one end, it sounded like you said there's not much we can do because you don't get like joy from any of this. But on the other end, it sounded like you said that talking about these conversations helped. So
Yeah,
could
so
you kind of
let me
go
explain that.
clarify?
So when when I made that decision that I was done suffering, I was thinking more about a way to commit suicide, even though I didn't want to. But that was the only way I knew. Then I realized one of my best friends told me that there was euthanasia in Belgium for um, people suffering from mental health issues. And um, I chose this solution instead because of several reasons. The first one is in no particular order, um, is I'm pretty lonely here. I mean, I haven't received anyone in my apartment in maybe 4 years, and
Oh my
so
God, really?
if I did commit suicide, I mean, I don't know how long it would take to find my body, and that would be tremendous bad experience to the person who would find me. So that's something I want to avoid very much. Uh, Also, I think that in case of suicide, there is a lot of guilt to the people around you because they think that they maybe could have helped you if they known, or maybe they think they didn't help enough, or all these kind of things that people around you will think. It tends to maybe not destroy lives, but it's very very hard on people, this guilt that people have. And being able to talk about it, it removes the guilt because I can explain to people that they cannot help me, and I can explain to people that yeah, I've been going on this thing has been going on for 9 years, and I've been fighting it for that same amount of time. And that helps them understand my position, and when you understand, you accept things much easier. uh, so that's the two main reasons. There are others, but that's the two most important ones. And the reason why I say I like the fact that I'm able to talk about it, and that helps me because it appeases me to know that people understand and that they can accept it, and they won't have uh, guilt when I'm gone. I know I cannot remove the sorrow and the pain. I know that there's nothing I can do about this, but at least I can remove the guilt, and I know that's already a lot. And that's why I want people to be able to talk about it.
Okay. So before I get to Puck's question, because he had a couple, um, oh crap, I forgot where I was going with this. The damn ADHD, man, it kicks me in the ass in every interview. Oh my God, it drives me nuts. So as I was saying earlier, struggle with suicidal ideation. And there have been two things in my life that have prevented me from going through with it. The first reason is gone. It was Band-Aid, my cat.
Yeah.
I remember. Damn it! I'm trying not to cry. Hang on, give me a second to compose myself. Um, I remember when my ex-wife and I first split, and I was moving into my brother's, and Band-Aid was I don't know how many people know the full story, but Band-Aid was a vicious cat. He would attack my ex-wife. He'd even occasionally attack me. He attacked my ex-wife so badly that she had to go to the hospital, and she has permanent damage in her thumb and hand because of how vicious he was. And everyone in my life wanted me to get rid of him. And I remember, I'm not going to say which family member called me, but a family member called me and said, "What is wrong with you? Why are you moving in with your brother with that cat? That cat's going to attack your nephew. Like, you need to get rid of him." And everyone in my life told me, get rid of Band-Aid. And I remember this moment so clearly. This was the day I officially moved out of my ex-wife's. Band-Aid is just walking around the car because he loved car rides. And I'm driving to my brother's, and I just remember looking at him and crying and being like, I don't care if I have to live in a car, because to be clear, I was in no position to get my own place. My credit was bad. I wasn't making enough money. It just couldn't have happened. And I remember just bawling my eyes out with him in the car, thinking like, you are the reason preventing me from ending my life. And then after that, after Band-Aid passed, or I shouldn't say after he passed, during the time my nephew became the next reason. And to this day, my nephew is my grounding mechanism. He is the reason that keeps me going, because I've thought about every way imaginable to end my life. And everything I think of at the end of that, all I go is, I don't want someone to have to explain that to my nephew, what happened to his uncle. And I forgot there was somewhere I was going with this, and I'm sorry. I made it
Yeah,
about I
I
apologize.
assume no. I assume the question is, do I have someone like this in my
Yes, that's
surroundings?
where thank
Yes.
you. That's where I was going with that.
No, no, I don't.
Not
Um,
family, not a close friend, no one.
I I have a goddaughter, but she's an adult now, and things are different. Uh, so no, there's like 10 years ago. Yes, she would definitely have been, and she was in some aspects what you're describing. But now she's an adult. We don't have as much contact as we used to. Um, but no, no.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
Um, I want you to come to America, and as I've told you privately, if you come to America, you have a place to stay, and I will show you around. I'm not so for those who don't know, I'm in the Chicagoland suburbs. I'm not super great at what's going on in Chicago, but I will look everything up and I will plan everything out to give you the best trip imaginable, Cindy. Um, with
Yeah,
that being said, oh,
that
sorry, go
that
ahead.
was that was the plan until someone got elected. I don't want to make this political, but
You can
yeah,
make it as political. Fuck Trump. Make it
yeah.
political.
The day of the election, I I didn't know he was going to win, but I was pretty scared that he might do. Um, but then I turned on I went on YouTube and watched some commentators, and some of them said that he spent 214 millions in uh, trans in ads attacking trans people, and
Really?
yeah, yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah, and then those commentators were starting to say, "Hey, Democrats, stop fighting for trans people and just you, well, basically, the Democrats lost because of trans people existing. Basically, that's
Oh
what
my
they were
God.
saying. So for an entire week, I just couldn't watch the news, anything, and even now I'm severely limiting my news intake. So yeah,
Dude,
so
it's
I want, yeah,
this
go ahead.
country has become, especially with Trump, very anti-trans.
Yeah,
I can't tell you. in the past couple weeks how many arguments and fights I've been in with people. My family, not all of them, so I don't want to throw them all under the bus, but several of them are very anti-trans. And no
Yeah.
matter how many times I try to educate them, they don't listen. And for those that don't know, a few weeks ago, I had Dr. Ben on the channel to discuss trans issues. So I sent that to my family. I was like, hey, I don't like pushing my podcasts on any of you guys, but I know we have a disagreement on this. If any of you would take the time to listen to this, I think it would be very beneficial. Not a single one of them said anything about it. They are just so anti-trans. And then when it comes to sports, oh my God,
That's even
it's
worse.
the end of the
Yes.
world. It's even worse.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
world. They,
Yeah.
they, they think trans women are trying to take over women's sports and ruin women's sports, and it's ridiculous.
So today I had a dinner with two of my um, co-players in my team, two young women around 22, 23, and I asked them this question: Do you mind having a trans woman in your team? And do you think you have an advantage in your team? And they didn't care. I've been playing soccer as a trans woman in Belgium for 5 years now, and I never had any issue with uh, any girl in any team, whether it's mine or the opposite teams. In fact, I realized last Saturday that I had a pretty good reputation, and the only time I had, um, let's say, insults, it was just two stupid guys on the side of the pitch. And that's the only event where that was even a topic. So yeah, the US is pretty shitty in this regard.
Yeah. So, okay, I have one more question. Then I want to answer one more audience question. Then I'm going to pass it to you to wrap it up. I know you don't live in America, but based on your knowledge of America, is Belgium more accepting of trans people than America is?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, yeah, it's like comparing, I don't know, the GDP of the US and Zimbabwe.
it's
It's
that
like
big of
two
a
different
difference.
words. Oh yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
All right. So,
Uh,
last question comes from Puck. My liver is on the way out. I'm already on a specialized diet to keep my enzymes in check. It's only going to get worse from here. How bad does it have to be for my decision to end be supported? And then follow up to that. And yeah, I get that I probably have 20 or so real good liver years to go, but that's 20 years of worrying about my health, knowing that even more care and pain is just around the corner. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if you were in Belgium and you were asking this question to a doctor, they would say um, pretty much what I told you, Ethan, earlier. It's at what point the pain is unbearable to you, and if you do have a physical issue and it causes pain and it causes um, like if you have to go through dialysis every day or something like that, you would be justified in asking to end this whenever you feel like the pain is unbearable, because you cannot, when I say you cannot, I mean in the context of Belgium's procedure, you cannot say, "Hey, I'm going to suffer in. I start suffering today, but the pain is going to get worse. So when am I able to end? It's just up to you. It's when you think the pain is unbearable that it's valid. It's valid. That's
Okay.
the answer from doctors.
Okay.
And
With that being, oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I want to answer another question from Puck regarding this guy. So one of the first videos I made on my channel was talking about trans people, and the argument that I've been hearing a few times was uh, what happens if someone says, I want to be an octopus? And so that argument was so stupid that I explained why it was stupid on my channel. And since then, I always have those two on my side because I I bought them for this episode on my show because I thought it would be funny, and I found two, one blue, one pink, just for the the idea of gender different being different than sex, and that's why they're here.
Okay. So before we wrap it up and I give you the last word, Cindy, I'd like to thank all my Patreons for supporting me over the past year and a half when I've been very inactive. It means a lot. Cindy, you as well. You are one of my patrons, and it means the world to me that you've still supported me, even though I've put up almost no content. So thank you. I'd also like to send a special thank you to Cindy as well, because for those that don't know, my girlfriend spent a great deal of time in the hospital after some serious issues. And Cindy donated a significant amount of money to her GoFundMe. So, Cindy, thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for always being supportive of me and my channel, and clearly my girlfriend. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who contributed tonight and for the comments. Cindy, tell me what's going on, what you got scheduled, and if you have any closing words.
No, I don't have anything scheduled at the moment. And if you guys want to come to Belgium for for a special event, that would be great. I could organize that. If I'm not going to the US, I would love to do anything meaningful with you and many other people. So yeah, that would be amazing.
All right.
But
Well, just like I
I know
said,
it's expensive.
yeah, it's not cheap. I still got to get my
Yeah.
passport. I've been working on that. But one thing you don't have to worry about if you come to America is you will have a place to stay. You will have rides to and from the airport. You will have access to anything you need. So
And
don't
I'll
worry
have
about
big hugs too.
what was that?
And I will have big hugs too.
You will get big hugs, yes. All right, so Cindy, stay on the line. Everyone, thank you so much for joining in. I'll be back next Tuesday. I am blanking on my podcast next Tuesday. I think it's with, you know what? I'm going to check it real quick. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing this on the air, but real quick, I'm going to take a look. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Yes, Philip Leach. I don't know if it's Lech or Leach, but I will find that out. I am finally excited to sit down with him. He's been a Patreon for my channel from a long time. We've talked a lot, had a lot of great conversations, so I'm excited. So Cindy, thank you so much.
Thank
Keep
you.
me updated and stay on the line. Good night, everyone.
Bye.